Hey residents of Meepletown, today we are in the vast underwater world where we are building up species and trying to be the best, right?
Trying to survive sometimes.
Trying to survive. Survival of the fittest. Adapt. Let's get to the table and look at oceans.
All right, Meepletown, we are ready to play some oceans. We have a reef over here. You look like you're saying, waiting to say something funny. Oh, that was it. Yeah. Okay, so we have a reef over here. We have 3 layers of oceans. We also have cards in our hand. We start with 6 cards, and there's some giant stacks over here. We have surface level cards, and we have deep cards, which we'll kind of get into talking about as we play this game. Yeah, let's first go ahead and tell people that I'm the first player.
Yeah.
For the first time,
That's
maybe
right.
ever in Meepletown. and because I'm first player, I'm actually going to get 4 victory points to start the game off with in a 2-player game. They're going to go right into my bag. And you may say, you get victory points for going first. Yes, because it's better to go last in this
Worst
game.
to be first in this
Because
game.
you can do a lot of attacking and crazy stuff at the end of the game.
That's
so
right.
they give you a few victory points. Now, before we actually dive in and start playing this game, I'm going to mention that there are a couple cards right here that are going to come into play whenever these parts get empty. We may not get there, but I really like this part of the game. I'll just be honest with you, because this is going to change the game as the way we're going to play it.
Yeah.
So this is going to say degenerative virus. During aging, choose a species to age an additional time, which you'll know what that is here in a second. Food surge means species double their population. Take from any ocean zone. Now, blue and purple cards are a little different. This is going to be active the entire time this is empty. This is only going to activate each time it empties. But all right, on our turn, we're going to do something real simple, Dean. We're going to play a card. Then we're going to take a food action.
All right.
Then we're going to age, and we're going to draw back up 4 parts.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready. I'm born ready.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to play a card to start a new species. I'm going to get me a filter feeder.
Filter feeder.
So what we're going to do is when I start a new species, I'm going to grab one of these. I'm going to place my card to the left, and the species has been created.
All right.
And then I'm going to feed. Now in feeding, I'm either going to attack or I'm going to forage. If I have a filter feeder, I cannot attack at all. So any additional traits that I add to this species that I have here will never be able to attack. But the species is going to be able to forage for 5. When you forage, you're going to come to the reef and take a number of green, add up all the green circles on the species, and you're going to take those. So I'm going to take 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I needed to know how to count.
It's a bunch of food.
Yeah, so right off the bat, I'm going to put these on here. So this is my population. I have a population of 5. While you're looking at this, I'll quickly mention, if you ever have to put one on this spot, which you fill out every other spot first, then you actually lose 5 and go back down to 5. So you don't want to overpopulate. Now, my filter feeder says this species can never overpopulate.
That is nice.
So that's nice. So now that I've played a card, now I'm going, and I've fed, now I'm going to age. And when you age, you're actually going to age every species that you have. You're only going to feed 1 species. So if I had multiple species on the table, I'd only be able to feed 1 of them, but you're going to age all of them, which means you're going to take off 1 of these, put it into your bag, so Dean doesn't know how many points I have right now. He has no idea.
Because each of those is a victory point at the end of the game. I do know.
That's right.
John has 5 points in his bag right now, and I have none points.
Clever, clever. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard as many cards as I want and draw back up to 6. I can I can take a deep card, but the deep cards cannot be played until the Cambrian explosion happens, which will be after this, I knocked that around, after this first ocean zone becomes completely empty. So if I take that, then I'm going to have cards in my hand that I can't get rid of. You know what, I'm just going to draw a card and let Deanie go for it.
All right, so I am going to play a card as well. I'm going to start a new species here, and I'm going to put the speed trait out there. I'm just going to put mine to the left right here, just to kind of keep these a little bit separated.
You're not supposed to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
You know, here's why. There's people in the comments are going to go, you're not supposed to put it down on the right side, and we're going to get we're going to get in trouble.
I'll do it. Okay, so I'm just going to put that right there, even though it doesn't matter. And I played my species, and now I'm going to feed this species. Now this one's a little bit different because this one does have an attack value. So I can either forage by taking 2 food from here because it's a value of 2, or I can attack John for 2, which means I would just take 2 fishies off of his card. Now, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to attack him, take 2, and then immediately I'm going to have to age one of those. So I will take this and throw this in here, giving myself 1 victory point.
You didn't have to share that. I had no idea how many you had in there.
No, 1 this round. You don't know how many I have.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm going to say is, if you're going to attack another player, there is this gold circled shell with a number in it. That's the defensive value. So had John had the defensive value right here, I would take the difference of the food. So if he had a defensive value of 2 and I was attacking with 2, I actually wouldn't be able to take anything from him.
Wouldn't work.
So he has a little bit of this species has a little bit of a defensive value there. So I aged, and I can discard as well, but
while he's discarding, I'm going to mention that every species can only have 3 traits, unless you have a card like this that says may have an additional trait.
Correct. All right, I am pretty pleased with my card, so I think I'm just going to draw back up to 6. There we go. Your turn.
All right, so very quickly, I am going to make my species over here transparent, which means that it may not be attacked or leached if there's population in the reef. So as long as there are fish on the reef, this species can no longer be attacked by his. So that's simply that. I'm going to go ahead and add up all my green circles, which there was none added with transparent. So I'm going to feed and grab, or forage and feed, same thing. Grab 5 more of these, and then I'm going to take 1 off. So turns can go really quick at the beginning.
That's right.
But not so much as you progress in this game, because there will be potentially a whole lot more going on. So I will age, and then I think I'm just going to just draw a card. There you go.
All right, so I was going to start a new species. I was going to, and I don't mind showing this because we're just showing how to play, but I was going to play an Apex Predator, which would attack John for 3 and a defensive value of 2, start a new species, and then start attacking. But I can't attack John, so I'm just going to hold off on this card right here. And so what I really want to be able to do...
No, you have it.
That's what I want to be able to do is get more food. You always want more food. That's never a bad thing,
That's
right?
a good one.
Unless you're going to overpopulate. So I'm going to play the Tentacled card, which says that I can feed an additional time, and I can forage from here, but I cannot attack John. And so I'm going to feed once, which gives me 2 from the reef, and I will feed a second time, which gives me another 2. I'm going to immediately feed that species, or age that species, and then... Let's see, I might actually want to get rid of something now. Let's see. No, I'm still pleased with these, so I'm just going to draw back up, and it's John's turn.
All right, so I am going to start a new species now. I am going to start a parasitic species. Did you like that?
I did not. It made me feel
that weird?
Very uncomfortable.
Was that weird, Meepletown? All right, so
Yes.
That's what they say. Sorry for the little bit of space, but we just wanted to make sure we were zoomed in as much as possible. And we're not going to play a whole game, or we would never have enough camera space to put all these right here. Okay, so this parasitic species says before feeding phase leaches 2 from the species to the left. So before I feed right now, I'm going to actually leech 2 from here, which is what I wanted to do, so that I can start getting a little something going on that's quite nice. I'll show you here. So I'm going to leech 2 from here. Then I'm going to feed. So I'm going to feed this species. Now, one thing that we are doing is we are losing population here at the reef. And so really quickly, I want to mention that at the bottom of your card. So on your turn, you can either play a card here or you can migrate. And so, for example, this filter feeder has this little 11 with the little squiggly lines. I'll put this up on the screen. This means that I can play that card, and instead of using it as a species trait, I'm going to discard it to take 11 from any of these and move them to any of these. So I'm going to probably have to migrate here before too long, because what I want to keep feeding this filter feeder, and I also don't want Dean to be able to attack me, because he can attack if I don't have any, if there's no fish on the reef. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so I feel like I was trying to do that so I could perfectly put the 5 on here, and now I won't overpopulate. Now, next turn I will, though, if I feed with the filter feeder, which I may just not feed with the filter feeder next time. So I will age both species, something you have to continually think about, because if you have to grab one of these and there's none left, so if I had to grab one there and there's none left, then my species goes extinct. And I don't want that to happen.
That's right. All right, well, I don't want to... Did you already draw up?
I have not, actually.
All right.
I'm going to discard a card and draw 2, so I'm just going to discard off camera.
Okay, I don't want John to have all the fun with the parasite action over there, so I'm actually going to start a new species as well. We'll try to slide this over a little bit.
It's looking okay. Still looking good. Still looking fine.
I figured since John is feeding off of that filter feeder, I also would like to feed off of that filter feeder. So I played my card as my... Thank you very much. This game can be a little attacky. We'll talk about that in the final thoughts, and you'll see right now. So same thing John just did before your feeding phase. Leeches 2 from the species to your right, which is the same filter feeder. So that one is going to be getting all kinds of food taken, fish.
What's happening right now?
All kinds of food taken off of there. So now I've not fed yet, so I will feed this one, and I will feed it twice because it has the tentacled trait on there. So I'm going to take 4. Now this one's about to overpopulate, so I'm going to have to consider that moving forward, that I don't want this one to overpopulate. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to probably feed this one to take some of the pressure off this one.
Now Dean could have attacked over here and then got me down to 0. And the only reason I want to mention that is it actually in this game, unlike Evolution, it does not go extinct. If that happens, it has to be at the end of my turn or in phase 3 of my turn when I'm trying to age.
Right, and I'll explain why I didn't do that too. So
you'd only get 1.
Right. I'd only get 1 for 1, and I could have taken one of those feeding actions and taken 1 instead of taking 2. However, I really want to clear this reef out because the sooner I can clear that out, the sooner that I can attack this filter feeder. Although this filter feeder is helping me right now, it's also really helping John. So anyway, I'm going to age both of these species, and that will be the end of my turn after I draw up.
So do you want to play another round, or that's good?
Let's do one more.
Oh, you're having a good time.
I'm getting pumped.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. I think. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be hard to fit this card on here. I'm going to kind of just put it over top just a little bit. I am going to put a parasite on this that says before feeding leeches 2 from the parasite on your left. Well, should I? No, I can't do that. You know what, Dean? I want to be mean to Dean, but then I'm going to continually overpopulate. I really just wanted to be attacky on Dean, and that would have actually been a bad move. So you know what?
I'm lashing out because I
was. Even though in this game it doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Oh no,
it's so fun.
Yeah.
All right, so let me think through this.
Survival of the fittest is this game.
That's it. So there's 3 of those.
There's actually
4 of those.
Counting is hard.
Numbers.
You really do need to be able to count to play this game.
Now I will say this as well. So for example, we have these parasitic. If they don't have any of the numbers on them, they actually can either be 1 attack or 1 forage, unless there's an X or a circle with a cross through it. So, see what I'm worried about. So if I come here and I decide to feed with this, I'm going to overpopulate here. And I'm going to take this away to where he can now attack my filter feeder, which I don't really want him to do. I don't have any cards. I would love to make this be able to forage or attack, and I don't have any to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I'm actually going to make this a shark cleaner. So I'll play this trait. The shark cleaning trait says after a species with 3 or more attacks, you only have 2 though. Man, I'm being indecisive, bro. For some reason, I thought you played the Apex Predator over there, and you didn't play the Apex Predator.
I did not yet.
You didn't yet.
Play the Apex Predator.
That's what so when I looked, I saw that. Okay, so let's just do this. Symbiotic gains 1 after the species to the right forages or attacks. So this is actually a circle. So this is going to say anytime that this character decides to attack or forage, I'm actually going to get 1 species, 1 population. So I'm playing that. That took a million years. Sorry, Dean.
That's a good card, though.
Then I'm going to remove 2 from here because this says right here before feeding that I leech 2 off of there. And then I'm going to, instead of feeding this right here, He's going to take 2, and then I'm going to take 2 next turn, then I can feed again. Okay, I think I'm good. You kind of got to plan several steps ahead here. Instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to attack this parasite and take him down to 0 population for now.
All right.
And then I got to age him. All right.
And then draw back up.
Yeah. Well, I just threw it across.
That's right.
Where'd
there.
that go? Wow. Okay.
All right, so what I was considering doing. Oh, did you draw back up already?
I'm gonna. Yeah, I haven't. But go ahead and go. I'm just.
Right, because John can also discard if he wants to discard anything, and then draw back up to 6. All right, so what I was going to do is play my Apex Predator so I can start really attacking John. But I know that he has a card that's going to benefit him because he just showed it to me.
I should have discarded more.
So I think what I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to put my Whale Cleaner. So this says that after a species with a 3 forage or more forages, which is this one, or I think right now that's the only one that it could affect. I'm going to gain 3 if this is the closest Whale Cleaner on either side. So I would take 3 from
because he's
from the reef there. So anyway, that is so that's what I'll do. I will. The problem with doing this is I still only have 1 that's able to feed, and I would like to have a better benefit. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and before feeding phase, I'm going to leech 2 from there. And I
don't like what's happening right now.
Well, the problem is I'm about to overpopulate though. Well, not necessarily. So I may feed an additional time, but I don't have to. I really would like to, again, be able to dump that out. But I think what I'm going to do...
Take my filter
I'm just going to take these... No. Yeah, I'm going to take these 2 right here. Because I still cannot attack that one because of there being food. Whoops, right here. All right, and then after I do that, I'm not going to feed an additional time because if I did, I would overpopulate. So I'm going to take 1 off of here, 1 off of here, age those, and I'm still pretty content with my cards.
Yeah, you're doing well.
There's one, I'm going to get rid of my Apex Predator, and I'll draw 2 more cards. Oh, that wasn't good. All right.
Well, I feel like I'm not drawing too well right now, but that's okay. Over the course of the game, it usually balances out really well.
Right.
One thing that we didn't mention before we do art and components is when we add a new species, we can add them anywhere on our side of the board. So I could put it to the left or to the right, or I could actually even put that in between these. So if I don't want his Whale Cleaner, what I really should do is put another species out here with the Whale Cleaner to where then I'm the closest on that side. Of course, then he's still the closest on the other side. So,
anyway. You may have mentioned this, I don't know if you did, but you can also, you can take some of these features out of your species.
Yeah, I didn't mention
that. So if you feel like, oh, I'm really locked into the species that's not really helpful, you can only max 3 traits unless you have something that adds to that. But you can take out those traits and then add some new ones in later.
And actually, you foraged with this, correct? What did you do?
No, I didn't. I attacked.
You attacked this. You attacked my this one. So I actually gain 1 after attack. Or
that's right. That's right.
And when you gain, you actually draw from the first open ocean level. So ocean level 1 is where I would draw from that. So I was actually not happy about putting that there, but at least it gave me 1 for now.
Yeah. It helps you stay alive.
Art and components, baby.
Art and components.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're looking at the Kickstarter deluxe version, I believe, and so what you're looking at are these little acrylic tokens that we're using for fish. We have card sleeves on there.
So let's see if I can get these a little closer. If it'll actually, man, I don't know if it's doing a very good job.
We can take a picture of that too.
We can do that. These are in the standard edition, so they're going to be cardboard pieces rather than the acrylic pieces. But they're really nice and vibrant.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So I really like the acrylic tokens, but I don't think that, like, if you just have the regular edition of this game and not the deluxe version, I don't think that you're missing that much. You know, I think you'd be completely satisfied with what you're going to get from that base box.
I feel like even though I prefer the acrylic, you're missing a little something because these are so cool. Like, it's like little Nemos and stuff. Like, now maybe they get lost a little bit in that reef because it's kind of vibrant. But I think they're really cool. I like the colors of these. I think they did a really good job.
And that is a good point because there's so much going on in the reef specifically that, you know, there's times, even with the lip on here, that you can, you know, if fish are here, sometimes it's difficult to see. I don't think it's that big of an issue, but it has been an issue in our game before.
It has been, but it doesn't bother me because I like the way it comes off the table a little bit better. Personally, I also like, speaking of those things, I like these little shelves that they built here for this, so you can, I mean, obviously that'd be very difficult to read these cards if they were down in the bottom. But this whole thing is solid cardboard, and I think it's got a cool presentation out on the table. I also will mention that these sleeves are fantastic, but these are only in the deluxe edition. And for me, this is actually probably my favorite part of the deluxe edition, is having these sleeves, and they give you more than enough sleeves to sleeve all the cards that they have in there. So if they have any expansions and stuff, it looks like there's going to be plenty of sleeves to actually do some more sleeving with those. So that's part of the deluxe edition.
I'm with you on that. The matte finish on the sleeves are, if you like sleeves. If you don't like sleeves, then you're probably not going to care for that at all. But for me, I like the matte finish on sleeves. So.
But man, these cards are not the greatest.
No, they're not.
So you're probably going to want to sleeve them, or they're going to get bad pretty quick, I think. So also mention that these bags are in the deluxe edition as well, which I really like these. If you don't have this, then you have your little shield to where no one can hopefully see what you got going on, a little player screen. But yeah,
the art, you mentioned the vibrancy in the art. I think a lot of people are really going to like that. And I like vibrant art, and I know if you're making a game about the ocean, you're going to want to have vibrant colors. I will say, and I think I'm going to be in the minority, the art isn't really my favorite. I don't think it's bad by any stretch. I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't do it for me on these cards. Now, the deep cards, for some reason, they do.
They're
I guess
a little
because
darker.
Yeah, they're a little darker.
Because they're down in the deep.
Yeah. But I mean, again, I don't think the art's bad. I just think that I personally, it's not my favorite, but I know that a lot of people are really going to love that.
You like that deep sea kraken right there?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Are you more evil or something?
Maybe that's what it is.
That's why you got the black shirt on. Maybe you just want to be dark.
My art choices are very dark.
I like the art. I like it. It's not my favorite art ever, though I do think some people will, just like Dean said, just love this. As you can tell, it's good. But I think it's really good. I enjoy it quite a bit. So is that good enough for art and components? We're talking about the gameplay?
Let's talk about the gameplay. All right, so there's lots of things to say about the gameplay, and from my perspective, a lot of positive things to say about the gameplay. I like this game a lot. I'll go ahead and say that. When you first look at this game, you think there's only 12 different traits in this big stack of cards. Yeah. And you might think, ooh, that's not very much. But then when you start playing this game, you think, wow, the different combinations.
We thought that when we started
that's
playing.
Exactly right. Before we played the game, we were like, ooh, I don't know. I think you're going to need more cards. But the combinations that you can build your species up, I think it's a lot. Like there are so many different combinations that you can build up your species, and I think 12 is plenty enough. And in fact, I think if you had more than 12, you really start to dilute this deck, and it makes it more of a challenge to actually have any kind of strategy.
It feels really well balanced. They play tested this a lot, and it really comes out in this game. Yeah. Like for example, if I had this filter feeder and he kept attacking it, I really want a transparent card. If they had 50 different types of cards in that deck, then it may take forever, or even 20 different cards potentially, maybe even 16. I don't know. It feels really well balanced. It might take a long time to dig through the deck to get this. Now, with that being said, the deep cards are all individual.
That's right. Yeah.
So I love that though, how it's got the balance of the primary cards you're playing, at least at the beginning. There's 12 of them, but then over here, this just totally changes the game.
Yeah.
You
absolutely.
Like the deep cards, don't you?
I do. I was going to say the exact same thing, that adds that more variability and challenge in that. I do think, so this game can be a mean game. John mentioned this earlier when we start attacking each other or start leeching off each other or being parasites. There is a lot of player interaction in this game. Now, I will say it doesn't feel as mean as some other games to me, but I guess I'm not as bothered by the meanness in games like that if that's the way it's supposed to be. I
think maybe one of the reasons, Dean, is that you can't just attack and destroy someone's species.
Right.
So I can take all their population off, but then Dean can just feed them again.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons it doesn't feel so ultra mean.
Yeah.
But anyways, but it's and plus, I mean, there's a lot of that going on in the game, so it's kind of like. If you don't like that, maybe you won't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I was gonna say if you're one who likes to, I just want to do my own thing and play this solitaire
nice
kind of version, play nice. I don't think that you're gonna like this game.
Player interaction is ultra high.
Yeah.
So if you like player interaction, you might very much like this game.
Right.
I also want to mention that one thing I really like about this. Now we'll talk maybe just a little bit about Evolution and Oceans. One thing that I love about Oceans are these cards right here.
Yeah.
That when you're filling out, I like how there's different layers of the ocean, and then when you complete one of these, this comes into play, and it adds a lot of strategy to the game because I can think, like for example, this says during aging, choose a species to age an additional time. That can alter the way I'm putting my species out on the board as I'm thinking like that's going to open up at some point in time in the game. And there's a good stack of these cards as well. There's probably like at least 30 to 50 of these things. Like there's quite a few, so and they're all different, so they can really change the game. Here, species double their population, take from any ocean zone. You could use that to be mean.
Oh yeah.
You could take one out to make someone overpopulate because they double their population, but that can change the strategy as you could keep, because this is going to happen every time it empties, so you could migrate and then empty, migrate and then empty to try to help or hose. I really like that part of the game. I also really like how you don't just attack and kill someone's species. I like that.
Yeah.
I like how you got that strategy going on. Well, if he does attack me, you may even want to just leave one population there because, well, if he attacks me, you can only take one.
Right. It makes you less of a target for sure.
It does. And I also really like how only one feeds. I think that's really cool versus Evolution, how like you're not feeding everybody, only one feed. So strategically you're like, you having to plan several steps ahead because you're thinking, wow, I got to make sure that I can feed this, because if I can't, and then I've got to age, and I can't age, then hey, that species goes extinct.
That's right.
And after the Cambrian explosion, you actually play 2 cards and you age 2 per species, so it goes crazy.
Right, it really ramps up the
cool.
game, and it makes it a lot more of a challenge. And I think at the heart of this game, it's an engine builder, right? And so you're trying to really figure out ways to build up that engine. And the thing I like, John mentioned that you're feeding one species. Well, that means you really probably need to figure out ways that you can leech off of either a species that you have that's feeding a lot, or somebody else's. In this case, I saw John has this engine going, and I'm like, hey, I want some of that engine.
Give me some of that.
Give me some of those fish. And so then I start leeching off of him, which I think is really unique. There aren't a lot of games like that where you can kind of move in on somebody else's engine and help and let that benefit you.
And we messed up. You can't leech me because I have transparent.
Oh, whoops.
So we're going to go back to the video, and I'll have to put on the very bottom. I forgot about that.
And I knew that because I
know.
was not
I don't
attacking
know
you.
Yeah, at the bottom we're going to say cannot be leached when I have transparent as well. So yeah, whoops a daisy.
Well, what I would have done then is put this over here. But had he not had that card there, had we not cheated, had I not cheated, then I would have been able to leech off of that and build in and move into somebody else's engine, which is, I think that's fantastic. I love that. So
before we do final thoughts, do you like this better than Evolution?
I do, yeah. Now I will say this: I've only played the app version of Evolution, but I've played it a decent amount. If I have the choice, I'm going to choose this every single time. I just think, like you said, the feeding part in this is more interesting. Not that I dislike the feeding part in Evolution, it's just I like this better.
And then how it progresses too. Yeah. Like Cambrian explosion happens mid-game. These things can become, so it's like, it feels like it's not the same thing over and over and over. Right. You're really not only building an engine, but there's something else that's happening over the course of the game, which I think is cool. Really cool. And I like this better as well.
I think this feels less mean than Evolution too, because you do completely wipe out those species. Which, if you get wiped out in this too, it's you can't just wipe out my species, right? I have to make choices that are going to allow that to happen instead of you just wiping it out like in Evolution. So, but because of that, some people might still like Evolution better if they really like a very attacky game, and they may, and that's for sure. But I agree with you that my preference is Oceans for sure, and it's a good game. Yeah. Final thoughts? All right, so final thoughts. I really dig this game. I love engine building games. This is an engine builder. I really like games that have high player interaction, and this has that. There's a lot of variability in this game because of the different species that you build up, plus the deep cards over here, plus these cards on the shelf there. I think this is a really fun game. So I'm going to give this game an 8 out of 10, a game that I'm not going to turn a play down of. I will say this. I know that this game won't be for everybody. I know several people. My wife, I don't think, would like this game. I have not played with her. But because of the meanness, high player interaction. I could see some people not enjoying this. But.
Yeah, my wife didn't like it at all either, and it was for her. It was whenever there got to be a lot of species on the table, it just kind of became overwhelming.
Sure.
And like, because you have to keep thinking, like, we screwed this up. We screwed the parasite up, and like that was, and it can be. Fiddly's not the right word, I don't think, but like you just have to make sure that you're really paying attention to everything that's going on over and like, oh yeah, I've got this well cleaner that's going to do this, or I've got a shark cleaner that every time someone attacks, I'm going to get 3, and you can forget those things. And she kind of got frustrated because of all of that. And I encourage her to play again because I think this, as Dean did, I think this is a really good game. Yeah. And I think that some of that would be eliminated the more you play this game. I agree with you 100%, Dean. 8 out of 10.
All right.
A back.
8 out of 10.
There we go.
From both of us. Why don't you tell people how? Oh wait, before we do that, we mentioned this. So that the cost of the game. We're talking about the deluxe version. We're talking about talking about the regular version of this. So with the higher price of the deluxe version, is it worth it to buy that? What do you think?
I generally I'm very cautious about buying deluxe. So I want you to Meepletown. You can watch our videos. That's how I am. I'm very cautious, and to me, honestly, I like the sleeves and stuff, but it's not worth it. I would rather just have the standard edition because it's like half the price, and I could just go get some sleeves, and I'm happy with these. Totally happy with these. So it would be worth it for me to just do the standard edition.
Yeah, and I'm the one who tends to deluxify games a lot more for sure. And I feel the same way as John. I don't know if you're gonna feel. Now, I really like the acrylic fish. I think cool. That is nice, but I don't think it's necessary. So if you have the regular version of this game and you think, wow, I'm really missing out, I don't think you are. I think the fish are really cool. The designs are fantastic. You can just get regular sleeves if you want sleeves. So for me, I'm with you. I think the regular edition of this is totally fine to get.
But there'll be people that will like this a lot.
Yep, that's exactly right. All right, so again, 8 from me, 8 from
8
John.
From me.
Tell people how they can get in touch with us.
All right, if you are enjoying our channel, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell for notifications when we come out with new videos. We have a podcast that is Meepletown on iTunes and Google Play and Stitcher and Spotify and all that cool stuff. Again, just search Meepletown. We are at Meepletown Games on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And finally, we are Board Game Geek Guild 3407.
Thanks for coming down to Meepletown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Meepletown Games and connect with us on the Meepletown Guild, Guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to Meepletown.